we care, and we want to show the world that we care. And I partnered and I'm working with USAID, and I'm meeting some of them here as well.
Surprise, surprise, that was First Lady Melania Trump in Egypt in 2018, singing the praises of the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, an agency her husband, Donald Trump, now calls a tremendous fraud. It seems Trump forgot how much his wife and daughter Ivanka promoted the agency during his first administration. During that time, during that same trip to Africa in 2018 in Malawi, Melania visited a school to highlight a USAID reading program. It's also worth noting that Melania is an immigrant from Slovenia, formerly part of communist Yugoslavia. She came here under unclear circumstances, somehow got a genius visa, and got her sister and mother here, too. What about Slovenia? According to the USAID archives, between 1993 and 1997, the agency delivered support to Slovenia as it transitioned from a state-controlled economy and authoritarian government to a free market democracy. Oh, irony, how you mock us. Meanwhile, during Trump's first administration, his daughter and senior advisor Ivanka Trump partnered with USAID for her Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative. In 2019, she traveled to Ethiopia and the Ivory Coast with the then administrator of USAID, who Donald Trump appointed. President Trump 1.0 also coughed up $100 million for Ivanka's project in his 2020 budget, funded through USAID. But now, with the influence of Elon Musk, who bragged it would be fed into a wood chipper, Donald Trump says the agency should be closed, whittled down from thousands of employees worldwide to just a few hundred, 611 to be exact. Two federal employees unions sued to block the order that would put thousands of USAID workers on administrative leave. But even as a federal judge prepared to hear that case, crews were removing the signage off of the agency's headquarters in Washington. In the meantime, Customs and Border Protection has officially taken over the lease of the headquarters space of USAID. It's not clear what the space will be used for. Late today, a Trump-appointed federal judge in Washington granted the union's request and blocked the order that would have forced more than 2,000 USAID employees on leave, effective just before midnight tonight. Joining me now is Dr. Atul Gawande, former Assistant Administrator for Global Health at USAID. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I just want to read to you, if you don't mind, before I let you comment on all these other things. A source of mine who years ago worked at USAID said the following about the people who work there now. They grew up professionally there, providing a service on behalf of the American people. Some joined the agency as veterans after serving and fighting for America. They decided to continue that service and fight on behalf of America in Iraq, Afghanistan, Sudan. These foreign service officers are being treated like criminals instead of human beings, fellow citizens who sacrificed time with family, uprooted their families every few years, just like military families, in order to deliver life-saving programs for millions of disenfranchised people around the world. They serve their country and do not deserve to be treated like this. But in less than a month, all their work reduced to this. I would love to get your reaction to that.
It is shameful how we're treating Americans who are sent to places that most people do not go, war zones, some of the most impoverished places on earth, to offer compassion and offer support, to also influence in places like Africa, Asia, Eastern Europe, where we want American support there, and then save lives, stop diseases that afflict the world. One of my colleagues, people are calling me off the hook, right? And I was just speaking to one who said, you know, my country is attacking me. This is worse than any dictatorship where I've worked. And we should be ashamed of that. I don't think you have any idea how much these people have poured their lives. They go out into the world without the guns. They're the largest civilian workforce we have for extending our foreign policy abroad. And there's the harm to our country, there's the harm to health and survival for many, and then there is the damage we're doing to America and our security. There's so many things to talk about, Joyce, so we'll go with
Indeed.
more.
Indeed, the New York Times went and discussed the dozens of clinical trials that have been frozen because of these cuts. The Times identified more than 30 frozen studies that had volunteers already in the care of researchers, including trials of malaria treatment in children under 5 in Mozambique, treatment for cholera in Bangladesh, a screen and treat method for cervical cancer in Malawi, tuberculosis treatment for children and teens in Peru and South Africa, nutritional support for children in Ethiopia, early childhood development intervention in Cambodia, ways to support pregnant and breastfeeding women to reduce malnutrition in Jordan, and mRNA vaccine technology for HIV in South Africa. When those things go away, what does that do to the image of the United States and the power of the United States in the world? When people who are actually in clinical trials are being told, go home, America has abandoned you.
Yeah, it's not just that they're frozen. That last word, they have been abandoned. I mean, there are women who have medical devices in them that need somebody to remove them, experimental devices, a vaginal ring that prevents HIV under testing. And we have, this is a dereliction of our duty. It is a terrible image for us where we were, the country that for decades could be trusted for our support of freedom and compassion, a helping hand to make a difference. 11 of our biggest trade partners were USAID countries, South Korea, India. These are places that now are critical bulwarks against China and Russia. By the way, China now in Nepal is offering to help fill in the gaps.
Of course they are. Russia is also crowing. I will note this, the Moscow Times. Russia welcomes the U.S. aid cuts. Ukraine was the single biggest recipient of U.S. aid in fiscal 2023, receiving $16.6 billion. And I will note this from Semaphore. U.S. aid has played a critical role in supporting Kyiv to rebuild its grid. It has committed at least $800 million to procure and deliver transformers, power cables, gas generators, and other hardware. That work is now in jeopardy. You, I think, hit on it. This can only be, it doesn't help us. It definitely helps Russia and China, right?
The signal we're sending is after 6 decades where we were seen as a trustworthy partner, we're now seen as unreliable. They're not coming back and saying, please don't stop this. I've spoken to ministers in the last 3 days who instead are picking up the phone to Europe, which is great. Let's see if they can help out. But then also to China and Russia.